Let's go, baby. Round 2, mid-rounders. My favorite underdog fantasy football drafts, picks 90 through 160. This is the second part of our 3-part series where I highlight the fantasy football players I have the most conviction in for this upcoming 2024 season. All picks are on Underdog Best Ball Mania. ADP may be different on ESPN. It depends in context, but I love these guys for any format of leagues. Hopefully this will win you guys some money this upcoming season. If you like the vids, if you love football, the NFL, fantasy football, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you want to watch more of my content, check out my vlog channel. We're going to be busting out some of that stuff next month. Natty Vlogs is going to be in the top right corner for y'all. All right, let's get right into it. First off, we have running back Brian Robinson Jr. out of the Commanders. Currently going ADP 104.1, running back 30. So Brian Robinson had a really, really solid performance last year. Now his ADP is down a little bit from where it was, or it might be actually, it's closer than you would think to last year's ADP. The reason for that is because Eckler is on the team. I believe Eckler is washed. A lot of other people think Eckler is washed. Either way, I think Brian Robinson Jr. Really, this is a third-year guy. In his first year, he lost 2/3 of the year to getting shot, and he was still recovering from that when he came back. Last season, when he was fully healthy, fully recovered from getting shot in the leg during the preseason, he was really talented both on the ground, and he also added some surprising receiving production, which we hadn't seen from him there. However, his main value is he's going to be way more efficient with Jaden Daniels coming in this year. Rushing QBs do boost the efficiency of the running backs, although they do have the capability to take away those goal line touchdowns. Brian Robinson Jr. is still the clear first and second down and goal line back in this offense. And like I said, not entirely devoid of receiving upside either. So he does have that receiving upside if something were to happen to Eckler. And there's a good chance that the offense does take big steps forward with Jaden Daniels. There's a possibility upgrading QB does lead to more scoring opportunities, more time of possession for Brian Robinson to dominate games when he already put up really, really solid, consistent numbers that any manager, I drafted him a lot last year. I am planning on being very happy with Brian Robinson's production again this year. Next guy we have up, Javonte Williams, ADP 115.5, RB 34. They not gonna like this one, all right? The beat writers this week have been coming out with everything hating on Javonte Williams, man. They're saying him and Samaje Perine are competing for one roster spot. Get out of here, man. Javonte Williams is a smash play this year. Mark my words, he's going as RB34 right now. Javonte Williams will finish as a top 30, if not top 24 running back this year. Guaranteed. I mean, as much as you can say guaranteed. But what guys are forgetting is the research that goes into this, man. Year 2 coming off that ACL injury is huge performance upside, guys. Remember, this guy was a dynasty RB1. Like, he was a first-round dynasty pick after his rookie season. And what happened? He just tore his ACL. And the first season was competing with Melvin Gordon. He has the highest draft capital out of all these guys, out of Esteem, out of Jaleel McLaughlin is undrafted. It seems like a 4th or 5th round pick. Javonte's still young, 3rd year of his career. Last year was out all year. Last year was impacted. But he has an easy opportunity. He was playing hurt last year, so the stats from last year mean nothing. He had elite advanced stats. Remember how much people loved this guy before the injury? That's the kind of role he's stepping into now with an improved QB situation. Or I don't know if it's improved over Russell Wilson, I'm not going to lie. But he has a very easy opportunity to be the lead back in this offense. Hopefully Bo Nix is great. And I think Javonte Williams is the RB1. Don't listen to the smoke coming from these beat writers. They don't have concrete sources from what I've been told. Javonte Williams should easily make the Broncos roster, easily be that running back 1. Audric Esteem's athletic profiles are not that elite. They're not anything special. Javonte is that kind of elite prospect, and everyone will see that now that he's fully recovered from his ACL injury and is ready to go coming into this year. Next one, we have a receiver. You have Jacoby Myers, ADP 118.2, wide receiver 58. Myers is just so stupidly undervalued for his productivity, in my opinion. Jacoby Myers has basically only played with bottom tier QB play, and he's still put up really solid production. He's still in his prime. He's not getting old. And we're hoping really that Gardner Minshew is the QB here. Gardner Minshew made mediocre wide receiver twos, which I think Jacoby Myers is kind of in the mold of, but slightly more talented. I mean, if you look at even Josh Downs while Minshew is playing, Minshew feeds PPR targets, and Jacoby Myers is the exact archetype you want on a Gardner Minshew offense. He honestly outperformed Devontae some games last year. Is a very, very good, one of the more talented wide receiver twos, in my opinion, outside of that elite tier, obviously, where you get like Waddle, Devonta Smith. I think he's playing with the best fantasy QB he's ever had the opportunity to play with, and I think he's going to get a lot more opportunities, a lot more targets under Minshew, a lot more high-quality targets, opportunities under Minshew than Garoppolo. Next guy we have running back Kimani Vidal, ADP 155.2, running back 48. For those of you tapped into the Dynasty underdog basketball communities, Kimani's not a crazy play. He's a big sleeper for a lot of people, and there's for good reason. For a guy, you're getting ADP 155.2. You're getting 10 plus rounds into your draft. Literal free play, in my opinion. There's not that much downside. And worst case, you're out a 10 plus round pick on a guy who has an opportunity to step into day one with the RB1 role. His competition is Gus Edwards, who is a quality NFL back. He's carved a good niche for himself, obviously loved by the Harbaughs. But Gus Edwards does have a very, very limited NFL skill set. He's mainly a goal line bruiser back. And then Dobbins is just a wild card at this point. I know we're talking about the ACL, and I was all in on Dobbins last year because of that, but another devastating injury after that. We really have no idea where he's at athletically coming into the year, if he's even going to be ready coming into the year, if he'll get re-injured. New coach, Harbaugh wants to run the ball here. They've upgraded their offensive line massively. And the important part is Kimani Vidal in college did have that 3-down workload. He was extremely productive. We know he can handle that workload on an NFL level. And he's the youngest guy here, the highest upside guy here, the guy the new management brought in this year. They did bring in Gus and Dobbins this year, but Kimani Vidal is the guy this establishment drafted to be their running back. I love him at the price you're getting him at. You're getting him at floor of an RB4 for a guy who could potentially be a high RB2 in like a great scenario. And yeah, I think Kimani Vidal is a great pick. He does have some receiving upside as well. Gus Edwards is not a super talented receiver, right? All right, next we got two more wide receivers. I am pretty big on the rookie wide receivers this year. This could be good, this could be wrong, but they're drafted right next to each other. First one we're going to get into is Roman Wilson, ADP 173.1, wide receiver 76. I'm more just kind of betting on the Steelers organization with this one. The offense is not going to be great, but the Steelers wide receiver draft history, if we look at the guys they've had, Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, now they have Pickens, the guys they invest draft capital in are really, really solid receivers, like huge, huge upside receivers, very quality NFL receivers, and I'm going to trust that they see the same thing in Roman Wilson. And if that's truly what they see in Roman Wilson, there's no reason he's not going to step into day one as the wide receiver 2 behind Pickens, which could still be a valuable role depending who suits up at QB. At least worth a shot. I think that's like 14 rounds in your draft. You're getting him the 14, 15 round. I'll take a shot on Roman Wilson to be pretty much a locked-in wide receiver too. There's not too much competition. I don't even know who's in Pittsburgh. It's like Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin. I think Van Jefferson went over there now. All like just the guys, to be honest. Roman Wilson has the most upside out of that group, obviously outside of Pickens. And if Russell Wilson is there, Russell Wilson is, I don't know at this stage of his career in an Arthur Smith offense, but Russell Wilson has shown that he can support two at least fantasy viable wide receivers. I don't see too much risk in taking a shot at Roman Wilson here because like we saw with Pickens, like we saw with Deontay, before that, like we saw with Juju, these new guys in the Steelers draft actually tend to overtake the last great draft prospect they had, and then the other guy leaves. So not saying that that's going to happen again, but I do love Roman Wilson. I trust the Steelers wide receiver scouting department, which is a shame because they have Arthur Smith now. Shame to have one of the best wide receiver scouts in the league and then pair that with Arthur Smith running your offense. Crazy work to me, but whatever. Let's move on to our last guy for this video, and that's going to be Troy Franklin, 173.7, wide receiver 77. Troy Franklin, to me, seems like another easy smash play at this ADP. The Broncos wide receiver room is still pretty weak. They have a lot of solid, borderline NFL level guys, and headlined by basically Courtland Sutton, who is a solid NFL wide receiver. He has a great NFL career. I mean, he's going to be in the league for a while, but Sutton hasn't really flashed anything crazy. He's at his best, he showed flashes of being maybe like a high wide receiver 2 option. That's from an IRL perspective. Troy Franklin with Bo Nix coming in. Franklin should be Bo Nix's favorite target starting from, I mean, Sutton might be, but Troy Franklin has a very, very good chance with that rapport he's built with Bo Nix at Oregon, his top target at Oregon, coming straight over to the league in a weak wide receiver room. I like that situation. Even though the Broncos don't project to be great on offense, I do think that Troy Franklin could be the wide receiver 1 by the Broncos after a couple weeks in, and he's immediately going to be getting opportunities because even though Marvin Mims is incredibly talented, the Broncos staff did have hesitation using him to his full potential last year. I just think Troy Franklin was honestly projected to go higher in drafts, if I'm not mistaken. In like mocks, he was mocked 2-3 rounds higher. That shows how NFL scouts were viewing him before the draft. And there's not a huge reason for him to fall. And he just got reunited with his college QB who won the Heisman with him as a wide receiver 1. I see a lot of upside in that situation personally. But anyways, that's going to be a wrap on this video. Next video, we're going to get sleepers for you guys from picks 160 to 215, 216. We're going to round that all up for you guys, close out this series. If you guys are enjoying this series, like, comment, subscribe. As always, let me know if there's any players I'm missing, if there's guys you really like in this range that I didn't cover, and why you think they'll pop off. Catch you guys in the next one.